Hi, everybody. Brett Mills here, Academy Mortgage Corporation. Hey, wanted to take just a couple of minutes and hopefully help provide some clarity on a often confusing principle that people struggle with. And that is, what is the total amount of interest I'm paying on my total piles or tranches of debt? Why would I bring this up? I've got a lot of clients right now that I think are in conflict looking at it as I'm talking to them saying, I've got a really low interest rate on my first mortgage, but I've got these credit cards that have creeped up. I've got a home equity line maybe on a variable rate that's creeped up. And with that increasing interest rates, the payments are getting tighter and tighter and tighter on their monthly budget, and they're feeling a little bit trapped. And so, how do you evaluate really what am I paying on my total cost of debt? So to help with that, I want to show a simple calculation that you can do to help provide clarity. And every situation is different. And so this is where we would want to do a free consultation with you. But to teach the principle, I'm just going to give you an example here. Let's say that you had a mortgage with $325,000 on it at a 3.75% interest rate. Say that you've got a home equity line with 80,000 on it at 8.5% on the interest rate. And let's say that you've got $36,000 in total credit card debt. And I'm just going to break that down into some different amounts. So say on the first one, you've got $10,000 on that one at 25% interest rate. Second one at 10,000 as well at a 19% interest rate. And then another one at $16,000 with a 23% interest rate. But you can look at this blended cost of capital as an example, and that kicks out and shows you in total you're paying 6.138%. Well, where'd that come from? Well, that's as you put all this debt together, it adds up to 441,000 and blends it together. The irony is the interest on $325,000 at 3.75 a month is actually $1,015. But if you were to take the interest on each one of these separate accounts and add it up, these four accounts that add up to $116,000, you'd actually be paying $1,230 more a month. So that's pretty significant that on $116,000, you're paying more in monthly interest than you are on that $325,000. This allows you to blend that together and to see kind of how that's affecting you. And so a couple of the other considerations that I look at in this of just trying to make sense, what if you're looking at opportunities like, do I finish a basement or do a remodel on a home, maybe expand an existing home that you're in, you're asking questions like that. This also allows us to look at it and kind of evaluate, well, does adding to a home equity line make more sense and leave the first mortgage alone, or does it make sense to redo the whole pile? So let's say that you needed $70,000. And if you put that on a home equity line, say at 8.5%, you can recalculate that. That'd bring that up to 6.4%. All of a sudden, you start to look at it and say, well, maybe if you're refinancing as just an example at a 6.875 or 7% interest rate, does it make sense to clamp all that and get it on a fixed rate mortgage, just as an example? And that's where we'd have to look at the products to see, because there's lots of them that would be available for you to make sure you're not overlooking any opportunities. One of the challenges I found over the years is when we get into an inflationary environment with interest rates coming up, too many clients wait too long. And so if I can illustrate it this way, when I say they wait too long, is as they just hope that things are going to turn around and work out. And they do not want to let go of an interest rate like 3.75. And they're so focused on that that they dig deeper and deeper and deeper into debt, because as interest rates go up, and right now, Chairman Powell, the Fed chair, is forecasting another 0.75% increase in December. And he also mentioned the last meeting that they will continue to increase interest rates, maybe not at the same pace, meaning 0.75% increases, but maybe at a 0.5 or 0.25% increase into next year. And so we are fully intending and planning based on current projections that the Fed is indicating that these interest rates will continue to go up. Well, why would that be important? Let's say that go back maybe to our original scenario of $80,000 on that blended rate. Well, if those rates go up, let's say in spring, and that new interest rate now is actually sitting at, say, 10.25, and this interest rate has now gone up to 27.5, because that's what will affect as they move that Fed funds rate. They'll have a direct impact on these short-term interest rates and moving those up. So let's say that goes up to 21.5%. And let's say that this one goes up to 25%. Here's one of the big contingencies. I find if your budget isn't working right now and you're adding, say, $1,000 a month to your credit card balances, well, in 6 months, hoping that this is all going to work out, you're not going to owe the same amount. You're actually going to have added another $6,000 as example in that 10-month period. And if that's, say, at a 28% rate, you've applied for new, all of a sudden that starts to creep up, and you can see how this starts to forecast forward. Sometimes when you're looking at what makes sense is considerations in future projections. You've got to look and say, where is this trending? Too many people are looking at saying, I wish I would have, I should have. For example, they started to feel the pinch on the budget earlier this summer, and they look at it and say, man, interest rates at the time were at 5%. So many of them looked at it and said, I can't let go of a 3.75% interest rate to get all my debt under control to make it through an inflationary period. Well, with interest rates up since then, the same questions really going on. So many are looking and saying, I wish I would have, should have. But as interest rates continue to go up, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot more of those conversations, wish I would have, should have. But more importantly, I've been at this long enough to see so many times at that point it's too late when we have borrowers start calling us saying, hey, my budget's really tight. Do I have any options? The credit card balances have grown so much, then at that point, the equity is stripped away on what they could get in a refinance, and often we can't help them. Scarily, many wait until they're at the brink of beginning to miss payments, and then the credit's going down. Another consideration of a missed opportunity on timing is appraised values. An appraisal is looking at the last 3 to 6 months worth of home sales. Well, seasonality in most markets, the summer months are the strongest months. And so purchase prices are at the highest during the summer months. Those are the appraised values that we're using right now. If we get into spring, they will be looking back at the last 3 to 6 months, which traditionally your winter months and seasonality are your weaker months in sales prices. And so if we're looking to do this in the spring as an example, a lot of these windows may have closed because appraised values may have come down, so you have access to less equity. Your balances have come up, and it's now costing you a significant amount more, and that actually puts you in a very dangerous position because the answer may be there's nothing we can do to help you at that point. So hopefully those tips are helpful. I encourage you to reach out for a no cost or obligation free consultation. We would love to run that. The reality is every client situation is different. And simply put, we want to make sure that you are not missing any opportunities that could help you get through an inflationary period, because these inflationary periods typically go on for quite some time. Of course, it's important to be looking at your weekly, monthly budgets. Do everything you can, and I encourage people to move with haste to make sure that they're getting their budgets in check. This may be a tool as we evaluate options in helping you get that budget in check so that you're not adding to your debt loads and slipping backwards. Another thing I look at is don't just use the strategy of, well, I'm going to live out of savings for the long-term period. You've got to get your monthly budget cash flow in check to make that through sustainably. And so hopefully that's helpful on seeing and gaining clarity around what is my debt really costing me. And we'll help you with some general ideas of how do you break that down. Once again, feel free to reach out to myself or a member of our team, and we would be honored to be able to run those scenarios for you. You can reach us at 801-614-5125. Once again, that's 801-614-5125. Brett Mills with Academy Mortgage, and I hope you have an amazing day.